Very good afternoon to everyone. Today's panel discussion topic is role of social media and digital marketing in the hotel industry post COVID-19 and how we're going to make sure our customer is back to our hotels, restaurants, and the banquet. To discuss this subject, I have a very eminent panel today with me. To start with, I have Manoj Nair. He's the marketing leader in India FCM Travel Solutions. They have presence in 95 countries and one of the most prominent players. Manoj, can you say hi to our audience, please?
Hello, everyone. Good to be here.
Thanks, Manoj.
Thank you.
Thanks, Manoj. Thank you very much. Along with that, I have Apurv Chamaria. He's the Chief Revenue Officer for RateGain. They're into travel technology business and know how to optimize the revenues for hotels, airline, cruise lines, and the for-car travel business. Apurv, can you say hi to our audience, please?
Hello, everyone.
Thanks, Apurv. Along with us, I have Prasad Iyer. Prasad Iyer is the Vice President Digital E-commerce Distribution and Rewards for Lemon Tree Hotels. Lemon Tree has around 80 plus hotels. There in 2019, they also acquired Keys portfolio. Today, they have 8,000 plus hotel rooms across the country. They have seventh most successful business formats, starting with Orica, Lemon Tree Premier, Lemon Tree, Red Fox, and three formats from their Keys new acquisition. Prasad, welcome you on board. Please say hi to our audience.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Prasad. I have with me Mr. C.S. Ramachandran. He's the Vice President of Hotel Revenue Optimization from Preferred Hotels and Resorts. Ram is one of the most prominent into the revenue management and the digital marketing space in the industry, and Preferred Hotel and Resorts. They have 750 plus hotels across the globe and have a extremely well distribution system. Along with that, in India, they have tied up with Imperial Hotel New Delhi, with Lida Hotel, and some of the hotels of the Fortune and Welcome Heritage. Ram, we welcome you on board. Please say hi to our audience.
Thank you so much, Nandivardhan. It's a pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great.
Thanks, Ram. Along with that, I have Sachin Prabreja. He's a co-founder for Easy Diner. Easy Diner is one of the most prominent app, and the business run is his Waze, because the first question he asked all of us whether you have Easy Diner on your mobile apps or not, and he made sure we all have downloaded. I have a huge respect for that, Sachin. I must say that for you. And Sachin is into the business of. He's a co-founder for Easy Diner. And Easy Diner into business of restaurant bookings. Sachin, welcome you on board, and I'm sure we're going to have very interesting insights from your side as well.
I'm so excited to be here, and thank you very much, all of you, and certain people who had the app. You will get more points from my side. Thank you so much.
I hope that offer is valid for our audience also.
Yes, everyone. Today we'll give everyone something.
Superb, superb. Along with that, I have Dhananjay. Dhananjay is head of sales and marketing for Fortune Hotels and Welcome Heritage, and he's a very old hand in the industry. Fortune have 43 plus operational hotels across the country. They have around 4,000 plus rooms. Along with that, Welcome Heritage has 37 plus hotels in the country. Dhananjay, welcome on board. I'm sure we're going to have very interesting insights from you as well.
Thank you very much.
Everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Dhananjay. Superb. So starting with you, Prasad, one of the most prominent domestic hotel chains in the country, and you handle the e-commerce and the digital side of the business for this chain. For Lemon Tree, what exactly you are doing in the social media space and digital marketing space? How you're making them a relevant player in the market when it comes to social media and marketing? And along with that, out of your total marketing budget, how much percentage of that you have dedicated towards state digital marketing?
It's a lot of good questions. Hang on. Let me take this one thing at a time. So, for starters, I think every brand is being very true to itself after a very long time. It's actually very good to see that as well. Everyone's playing to their strengths. Everyone's being very true to themselves with regards to sort of what they want to sort of convey to their customers. Now, the customers that we're currently dealing with, or serving rather, are not our usual customers. A big chunk of the business that we're currently sort of servicing are customers that have sort of come in as a part of the BCP business. Some of them are asymptomatic quarantiners, there's medical staff, there's government staff, and so on and so forth. Now, the customers that we're serving now are not our usual customers. So with regards to how we communicate with this set of audience is very different from how we would communicate with a conventional or our usual customers via the loyalty angle, or say by means of what we do on social media, things like that. A lot of it is now largely directed through social media and conventional CRM based marketing, which is largely emails, because you want to continue to communicate with your loyalty members, because these are the people that are eventually going to come back to you, and these are the ones. This is your captive audience, and these are the customers that aren't coming to you right now because of the situation that we're all in. So with regards to sort of the go-to-market piece, we're relying largely on email marketing because we want to sort of constantly keep communicating with our customers with regards to what's happening with our hotels, what are we doing with regards to safety, what we're doing with regards to how we are operating certain services than we did before. And a lot of this is factual marketing. I don't think many brands, and almost all brands, I wouldn't say many, I would say almost every single brand out there today is still trying to fulfill the lower part of Maslow's pyramid. It's still based on your basic and conventionally the hygiene factors there as well. And most of this is also going on social media. It's still organic because a lot of every single company out there has taken a good beating on the budget for obvious reasons, because conversion ratios are probably at an all-time low right now because your retail customers and your corporates and trade customers are not traveling as much as they did before for obvious reasons, and our business is largely impacted by what's happening in the airline space. So a lot of what we do is still organic, and that's largely garnered through what we can do to our existing audience via social media. We're not necessarily going to audience extension and things like that. A lot of our posts are factual, organic posts that are going in on every single social media channel, largely to convey to our audience that, look, things will get better, and this is what it is that we're doing through our journey in the post-COVID space.
Super. And what type of percentage you are allocating towards in the normal time? What was the percentage allocation towards the digital marketing out of your total marketing campaign?
A sizable chunk. I mean, I've been with Lemon Tree for a little under a year now, and a sizable chunk of our budgets are allocated towards digital, largely because it's still the only quantifiable and scalable investment in the OpEx side of investments that a company of our scale makes. And I would presume that it's largely the same even with my erstwhile organizations, Taj and Marriott. I think whatever money that companies are allocating are largely sort of getting allocated to digital. I think conventional marketing is slowly starting to take a backseat, just especially now. It's largely because of the time spent on digital platforms by our customers. So we want to sort of be there, and whatever it is that we want to say, even if it's little, we want to say it on through digital platforms.
Thanks, Prasad. Thanks for your inputs. Manoj, coming to you. FCM is basically into business travel solutions largely across the globe. How's business in this pandemic situation is shaping up for you?
Yeah, so Jed, FCM is part of the Flight Center Group, and we are one of the largest when it comes to corporate travel. And obviously, while we are in leisure travel, we are in travel money, that is the forex space, the corporate travel, all the segments have taken a beating for sure. Corporates have pulled the plug when it comes to be it the employees traveling or be it for MICE movements. There has been a complete standstill. We realize that this is one of the biggest disruptors we would see ever in our lifetime, and thankfully been quite agile and been quite adaptive to the changing market scenario. We were kind of proactively trying to manage the situation by cash conservation and by ensuring that we are communicating with our customers as well as with our employees. So that entailed town halls, regional leadership meet. At the same time, we went out, spoke to our customers, did a primary research with around 1,600 decision makers across the globe. And the finding which came out it was not surprising. The fact is that they said that we will start traveling when the organization tells us. At the same time, there is a duty of care. There is a fact that the place where we go, be it the plane, be it the hotel, it is sanitized, there is safety, and it is attested by something which is like a government body, and those kind of things need to be taken into consideration. When the pandemic started at the early stages, people were still thinking about going back to business very soon, possibly a month or two. But as it has progressed, we have seen that, and reports also, Fitch as well as ITA report also says that it will take 3 years to 2024 or 2024 for things to come back to normal. In such a scenario, we need to keep continuing having conversations with the customer. Some of the places or the countries in the world where we are seeing domestic travel kind of coming back to nearly 40-50%, like say China, Australia to an extent, and parts of Europe in our sphere of influence. We have seen that our guys have gone out, traveled from a point A to a point B, gone across all the touch points, be it the car they sit in, be it the hotel they stay in, be it the airline, and put out testimonials. And we are encouraged our corporate customers who are also traveling in that place to also put out feedbacks so that we learn from that. And this has to be authentic, and that's what we encourage. And that's something which we are putting into place over here in India also. While there is feedback from customers that they want to meet new customers, from corporates that they want to meet new customers as well as engage with the old customers, the travel part will start only when they have the confidence that on ground things are being taken care of. And that's what we engage continuously with partners like airlines, hotels, our transfer services, to ensure that we convey that piece to the corporates and also to the people who use our services.
In the India market context, do you think the corporates are reducing down the frills and benefits on the hotel stays categories for their different category of the employees, like the VP level person who earlier was probably staying in premium or upper upscale properties? Now they're asking them to stay in mid-segment properties, or maybe they ask in the future. Have you witnessed or experienced any such conversations in your sales pitch?
Especially with post-COVID or the scenario we are in, the focus and the emphasis which has come out in the research also with India also has been about duty of care, about cleanliness, about sanitation, and the deal part. We know for a fact that corporates are also bleeding. But the fact is that just because you will offer me a great deal at an economical hotel to stay in, I won't just go and send my employees over there. It is more about ensuring that they are taken care of, and that might be possibly a slightly higher cost, and those kind of conversations will also happen, while there will also be conversations around how we mitigate the overall economic burden. But the fact is that duty of care is finding an important place in the conversation with corporates. People are evolving to those kind of conversation about how I ensure my employee goes from a point A to a point B at the shortest possible time frame and come back safely. And those are the kind of conversation we are seeing.
Thanks, Manoj. Thanks for your inputs. Apur, Manoj touched a very relevant point in the current market conditions that basically safety is the first criteria for any corporate or any traveler. What do you think we need to do to restore our customer benefit confidence among the hotels? What we exactly need to do, and how digital space can really be very critical area where how we can convince to our potential customers?
Sure. So, we work with 125,000 hotels globally. So we have a good vantage point into what our hotels doing. I think one of the mistakes which I see a lot of hotels do is they're treating safety in a very clinical and boring fashion. So it's serious business, but it doesn't need to be serious business, if you know what I mean. When you treat safety in a very clinical fashion, the first thing which you're telling leisure travelers is only travel when you need to. That's what boring and clinical means. You will get some corporate travelers or some people who are traveling because of emergency. but it will not take you beyond 15-20% occupancy. I think to see broad-based recovery, you need to stop treating safety and health and duty of care in a clinical fashion, and you need to narrate very interesting stories around it.
Is there a password on this?
The second thing is most hotels pay a lot of attention and resources and budgets to the physical experience and the service experience, but not enough to the digital experience. And let me tell you what I mean by it. Most of the people talk about digital marketing. It's actually not digital marketing. It's marketing in a digital world. And digital needs to permeate the whole guest experience journey and not only be used for selling rooms. You check any large hotel chain and you will see hundreds and thousands of comments on Twitter and Facebook unanswered, even today. So we were talking to Steven Tyler, who's the Global Chief Marketing Officer at Accor Hotels. And Steven highlighted this as one of the key points which they try to educate as a brand, all their hotels globally. ORM is a must. And ORM is not only getting beautiful reports which talk about positive and negative sentiments, but how do you convert every tweet, every Facebook mention, every TripAdvisor review into a sales opportunity? So I would love to see more of it in the coming times as we think about recovery.
Superb. Ram, coming to you. What do you think as a Preferred Hotel Resorts guys need to do to restore the customer's confidence?
So I think in terms of restoring the customer confidence, the first thing for us to understand is, like Apurva mentioned, the biggest thing that we are seeing is there's a fear of going to a hotel. And hotels are, of course, hyping it. Some of those messages or posts on social media are scary when you see a welcome hostess welcoming someone wearing a huge face shield covered with a face mask as well. Of course, it's important, but it's not important.
Ram, I think, Ram, you have two windows open. You have to close one window. That's the reason there's an echo behind your voice. You have two windows open in two different devices?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I don't.
Go ahead.
That's interesting. Can you hear me better? Is this better now? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I think it's more important to be sensitive right now. It's not a question of pushing people to book. But at the same time, inspiring the audience. It's more of inspiring audience to visit your destination first, because something that we are seeing globally is people need to be first confident about the destination. Okay. And which is something we are seeing is a challenge as far as some of the regions in the country is. It's not about visiting your hotel in Jaipur. It's about first visiting Rajasthan as a destination and then visiting Jaipur as a destination. From there on, it's visiting the hotel out there. I think what is important is for hotels to share any kind of updates that's happening in the hotel in terms of health and safety certifications, which is very important. A certified health and safety certification is important because I think Manoj made a very valid statement about pricing. And this is what we are seeing across our surveys, as well as if you see some of those surveys that external parties such as Sabre or other agencies are doing. Price is not actually the key driving element, like how it was maybe pre-COVID. Okay, what's actually the driving element is health and safety, the duty of care, like Manoj mentioned, the flexibility in your offers out there, because people are forced to change decisions at the last minute. The value for money, you could be charging whatever you're charging, but at the same time, if there is no value for the money the consumer is paying at this point of time, because Prasad mentioned the Maslow's hierarchy, right? Right now, everyone is trying to cater to their needs. So if they are paying, I don't know, let's see, whether it's $5,000 or $20,000, there needs to be something which is catering to their needs and showcases a value out there. So experience becomes very important at this point of time. People are not looking for staying in a place which has four walls and a ceiling. All of us are being stuck in four walls and a ceiling for the past 4 months. So they want to see something. They want to get an experience when they step out. And I guess that's where the main focus needs to be.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for valuable inputs. Dhananjay, coming to you, you have a mixed portfolio. The Fortune is purely business-driven hotels, and whereas the Welcome Heritage is a largely leisure-driven hotels. Now, as a company, when you are handling both the portfolios, what's your digital marketing strategy? How you keep engaged both sides of the customers? Because probably the requirements of the business traveler is very different from the leisure.
Yeah, see, the target audience is the key focus on and the demographics.
Sachin, coming to you, at Easy Diner, what exactly you guys are doing to keep your customer engaged? And how much dip in the this entire business? Are you seeing there's a pickup in the home delivery business from your platform? Is that something that is visible to you? And
So this 3 months of pandemic, like it has given us great opportunity. Like we were a eating out app, and now we have made it all day dining app. Like you can eat out or you can order at your house also. So we have introduced Easy Safe plus hygiene rating by Easy Diner. So in this, we have chosen our restaurants. So you'll see like top hotels, top restaurants, and from Burkos to Golden Dragon can deliver food at your house. That is one thing what we have done. And at the moment, the discount, like we don't ask discounts from the partner, but we have done a lot of association. Can I take you for a 2 minutes presentation, which I have created for this?
Sure.
Karan? So basically, it's a all day long app. So you can order breakfast, you can have it in the restaurant. So nowadays, like you're seeing, a lot of restaurants are opening slowly and slowly. Last month was tough. Like people were adamant to go out. They were just curious, like whether now the confidence, like dining, will definitely happen. The food you like, you are still eating it. Maybe the duration have come like lesser. Like maybe earlier you were ordering 3 times in a week. Now you must be doing 2 times or a 1 time. But again, like it is again started on. So we have seen like in last 2 months, the graph is increasing and like day by day. So in fact, if I talk about Dubai, like Dubai when we opened, so we are doing pre-COVID numbers already, and we'll be doing better numbers in Dubai than pre-COVID days. So that's a great news. Like international markets have started picking up. Can you take me to the next slide, please? So like Easy Diner at the moment is present in 250 odd cities, and we have a base of 5 crore users. Next slide, please. So Easy Diner, like we were the first partner with Google, which has helped a lot of restaurants. So anytime like you are searching on Google any restaurant, so you have call to action over there. So we power Google reservation also. Like immediately a person can see the reviews. That is also powered by Easy Diner. And if the slots are available, you can book a table also. Next slide, please. So this is a very important slide, like what we have learned in last few months. You see, in India, only 3% people owns a credit card. And for your knowledge, like everybody is aware of, 51% of people, like so these are like 5 crore people, like who drives the 51% of digital transaction into any of the thing. So that is a very interesting story. So we are working with all kinds of banks. I'll just show you like how a user and restaurant gets benefit out of it. They're doing much. Next slide, please. So basically on our app, like we run a Easy Diner loyalty program also. Anytime you are making any reservation, so you get loyalty points all the time. So we become the India's largest dining app with this loyalty program. So the support of bank also help us, because every time you are paying through these credit cards, you get additional offers from them. Next, please. So these are like the partners we are working with, which gives benefits to the, like restaurant doesn't have to give you a discount, but banks also give. So restaurant doesn't have to lose much on this. So we do like a lot of promotion for restaurants also in collaboration with the banks, which helps reaching out to these customers. So basically what we have understood is social media helps building a strong social media presence for us. It helps us doing brand repetition. Again, like search engine optimization provides more leads. People know what they are looking for and what they are booking. So for instance, like last month, we got a collaboration with Instagram, where like any restaurant, because most of the restaurant will not have their own website or a booking or a dining platform. So at the moment, like if you have our, like you are associated with us, we can give that power with a link. Immediately you're posting anything, that link can take you back to my site and you can order food. So that's another advantage for a restaurant which comes, and people can immediately see that, and like either they want to book a table or they want to order food, they can do it right simultaneously. Basically, social media to us is like creating transaction, because anything what you're doing, it should have some relevance to it. Like posting like brand part, definitely yes, but it should lead to some transaction. That is what we feel.
So what's the conversion rate you see there in your campaigns?
You see, like worldwide, if it is a lifestyle product, you will see a better, because food is something you will not eat at that moment, but we see click rate, so which is like quite high. I see like 4 to 5% of transactional value, which is very high according to the standard. Because see, a lifestyle product you can buy anytime if you see a great discount which is happening around. A food part, you will still plan. If I tell you like 70% off on food anywhere, you will not straight away go and eat. You will plan yourself. So that's what because the strategy with social marketing will be different for different product. Like if a Apple sells a phone at 50% discount, I think everybody is going to buy it, whether they want it or not. But food is something you have to plan. And like whatever you want
That's
to eat,
right.
you can't.
Thanks, Sachin. Thanks for your inputs. Tasaram, my question towards you is in terms of the international tourism for the India market, how far-fetched you see it? It's 12 months, 18 months, or maybe more. What's your view on that?
Well, I mean, to be quite honest, I think how far is it is anyone's guess. I mean, every time we see that the trends are going down, it's there's a second wave or something that's the numbers are going up again, and the restrictions come back in place. But if you ask me, there is a lot of positive signs that we are observing, because with 750 odd hotels, we keep a track on what's the business demand that's happening. Uh, Markets which have started to open and where restrictions have eased out, within a couple of weeks, we actually saw numbers already going to 20%. And today, when you look at some of the hotels in Southeast Asia, in Southeast Asia and Australia, we are already seeing close to 40% of pre-COVID demand, which is great news considering where they were. Okay, it's quite similar trends that we have seen in Middle East as well. Uh, the great news as far as the India market goes is, and there was a recent study by Forward Keys, which actually does a lot of air traffic analysis and air traffic search trends. India actually features amongst the top five search destinations that is happening in the short haul markets, such as Europe, Southeast Asia, and Middle East. I mean, these are the short haul destinations, right? Where it's a 5 to 6 hours flight or just over that. So I mean, I'm not going to give the usual speed of, yeah, it's going to domestic, short haul, long haul. Everyone knows that. But I think in the longer run, I think the first step is for us to make the destination safe. I mean, like I said, people are going to first visit the destination, not a hotel. So as hotels, I think we all need to work with our respective boards to ensure that, how can we make the destination safe? It's the reverse pyramid, right? Where first they need to ensure that India is well, we are number three right now. First India needs to be safe, then the key safe destinations, states, key safe cities, and then of course the hotels coming out there. So I think it's more important to start highlighting what is the positive news of India. Actually, there was this wonderful video that I posted sometime back on, it was by one of those OTA partners, I forgot the name, which actually said 35 beautiful spots in the country that you need to visit. And it was a crisp 5-minute video. I mean, that actually made my mind that, look, I thought I've seen a lot of India. I drive a lot. But hey, you know what? There's so much more that I can visit in this country. So I think there needs to be that motivation to visit India, maybe from the tourism board or by us as an industry. So I think, and this is something, I mean, just taking one final word, this is something we are pushing as a company as well. Our recent campaign actually is something called Loving Local. Okay, that's something that we have started with all our hotels out there in every destination, and the focus is on domestic staycations or local business, and why you should be staying in your city, and what are the experiences that you can get in your destination out there. So that's where the key focus is out there. So back to you.
Super, super,
Thank
Ram.
you.
Apurva, all the organized hotel chains are giving significant importance towards digital marketing or marketing in digital space, as you mentioned earlier also. Now, when it comes to independent hotels, do you think it's viable for them to invest a significant portion of money on their marketing campaigns towards in digital marketing? If it's viable, then how it is viable and what exactly they need to do, especially for the independent hotel owners?
Thank you. It's a very good question. So globally, people are spending anywhere between 5 to 8% of their total hotel revenue on digital marketing. Out of that, almost 50% is going into social media. And I would only say that for independent hotels, if you have to do it, there is no shortcut. You have to build your audience. You need a loyalty program or at least a customer database. You need to track parity, because if you're not on parity and you're trying to do social media marketing, guests will come to your website but not convert. And then you'll blame social media that bookings are not happening. So you need a 360-degree holistic view towards social media marketing versus just thinking that you'll start social media today and you'll start getting conversions. So we bought a big digital marketing agency called BCB 2 years ago. And recently, we did a case study for a big resort in Maldives. It's a luxury resort. And they got a 300 times return on investment. This is a client signed off. And the way we could track it is we integrated the campaign UTM codes with their booking engine. So you could track the full closed loop conversion. So I would advise all independent hotels who might be on the call, start small, be very analytical, be very mindful about every creative and copy you're doing. Less is more. It just doesn't matter how many times you're posting if the posts are not appropriate and not targeted towards personas. And today, Facebook and Instagram, you to really, really do very, very sharp targeting. So analyze your PMS and your CRS and your CRM data to create 5, 6 customer cohorts. So Bleisure could be a customer cohort, mice and weddings could be a customer cohort, and do very laser sharp targeting towards each. Every message should not appeal to everybody.
Super. Thanks, Apurva. Dhananjay and Prasad, my next question is for both of you. Recently, we conducted a survey a couple of weeks back that the leisure segment of the market, now considering the COVID-19, we can't really stop living our lives. We still have to live. And vaccine and to get the entire world vaccine, it looks like at least 12 to 18 months job. It's not that easy. It's going to take its own sweet time. We all are aware about it. Now things are more evident and visible to all of us. Now, 2, 3 areas where we see humongous opportunity is going to come up in next couple of quarters, which is staycation and weekend getaways, where you can drive down. Okay. Now, both of you have assets in leisure locations like Lemon Tree, Jim Corbett, or you have a Aurika in Udaipur, and similarly, Welcome Heritage has a huge portfolio in leisure. What do you think? Is this a big opportunity, and are you putting up your digital marketing strategies, especially focusing on staycation and weekends? Prasad, I'll start with you, and then Dhananjay, I'll come take your response as well.
Thanks, Nandi. Yes, in fact, that's pretty much what we're doing right now. We know that most of the travel is now going to be domestic. Although, the portfolio that Lemon Tree has, a big chunk of it is business hotels. So I'll come back to what Manoj said with regards to upwards and downwards movements within customers, which is call it a step up or a step down with regards to people from 4 stars and 5 stars coming down a step below, or people who used to sort of say conventionally live in a 2.5 or a 3-star or a standalone hotel, moving one step up and coming into one of our brands. Yes, absolutely. We are looking at staycations and weekend getaways and things like that, because largely that's how travel is going to be. I mean, we foresee, I think before the call actually started, we were speaking to each other about people doing driving weekends and things like that, riding and so on and so forth, because people are feel safer driving in their own vehicles than sort of taking, let's say, an aircraft, right? Or a flight. I flew back from Delhi to Bombay, and I would have not necessarily wanted to do it that way. I was contemplating driving down as well. So if our hotels are located in places which are, let's say, anywhere between as low as an hour and as high as say 8 to 10 hours, people are willing to make the trip and take the drive as well, even if it's for a weekend or even midweek. It doesn't really matter, because I don't think it really matters as to where you are physically in order to be able to work, right? You can very well go in and work out of Goa for if it was permissible. All you need is a good internet line, and you're good to go. It's more about packaging, and it's more about communicating as well. And I think to Apurva's point with regards to just sort of creating buckets of customers, that's done as well. But you also need to sort of keep in mind that organic reach is less than 1% on any social media platform that you touch today. And it's by design. Facebook and the entire environment is such that they want to monetize it, and they're not going to give you the reach just because you have a captive audience of about, say, 500,000 people, which most of our companies here do. So with regards to what gets communicated, I think it's always going to be a mix. I mean, it's not about fear mongering and saying we keep talking about safety, because safety is paramount now. You can't sort of not talk about it, right? Which is ideally why we've also partnered with massive sanitization companies and industry leaders like Diversey to launch a sanitization program, which sort of one gives the customer the assurance, the peace of mind, because when the mind's making the decision, you need to know that wherever it is that you're going and wherever it is that you're taking your family, everyone's at ease, right? I can tell you this because out of the fear in Bombay as well, right? We're very mindful about where we go, where we order food from, what we do, where we go, who we meet, and so on and so forth. And this is you exposing your entire family or yourself to an unknown. Now, making that unknown a little well known or better informed is paramount. But yes, that and sort of the aspirational side of marketing, which is largely telling our customers that this is you in Goa, like the way you remember it, or this is you in Jim Corbett with your buddies, the way you remember it. That needs to sort of go in tandem. It cannot be just one over the other, right? You have to sort of communicate that, and we're doing that again by similar means, by means of putting this organically. I mean, there needs to be the intent. You cannot sort of shout down travel down anyone's throat and saying you need to travel. It doesn't work that way. The intent, which is top funnel, needs to come from within, and this is largely going to come in with time, right? Once the fear starts weaning off, which is going to happen, it's not going to happen overnight. The damage took a good 3 to 6 months to sort of happen, and the recovery will take another 3 to 6 months. And we foresee a good Q3, which is a good winter, rather, a good October, November, December, where leisure might sort of start picking up much faster than business travel will, largely because leisure is more, it's a decision which is coming in from the heart as opposed to the mind. A business traveler will need to travel because there is the need. But the intent of leisure travel is eventually going to get up, because like someone said earlier, there is only so much of being locked in four walls that one can sort of deal with. And once the mind wants to get out, and you make your own conscious decision with regards to which brand you choose based on what it is that they do with regards to sanitization and so on and so forth. It's just that I would much rather be elsewhere as opposed to being where I am right now. And it's a matter of brand choice, and it's a matter of a price point, because recession's on us as well. So everyone's mindful about what is hitting the bank and what's hurting the wallet. It's as simple as that. I think that's ideally why you need to sort of communicate both these things parallelly, and that's pretty much what every single brand out there is doing. Where just the mix of who's marketing more from an aspirational side of things, and who's marketing more from a factual side of things. That's what is the mix that we are seeing in the larger scheme of things.
Thanks, Prasad. Thank you very much. Dhananjay, would you like to take it up, please?
Yeah. Taking from Prasad's point, I think the most important is to get that sense of confidence to travel. I mean, people are wanting to travel and they are itching to get out of their houses and do a quick getaways. So at Fortune and Welcome It, we are putting away those getaway packages, so-called the motoring distances one, which is easier. And yes, we have a challenge with some of the states which still not yet open, like Himachal, Uttarakhand, many more like that. But the teams are working on putting this together. We are very confident, like Prasad said. I think starting October or from Diwali onwards, we should see a good pickup in our travel, at least in the leisure space. Likewise, the business continues to be wherever the essential travel is there. That's going on now a bit more. But leisure, well, the domestic leisure should pick up. People want to travel, want to go ahead with small distances, be in their own cars, be in that safety environment as well. And I think that's a great opportunity for us for our two brands, which can complement each other wherever we want to be and promote these packages. In fact, you might be surprised to know that ITC Grand Bharat, which is a luxury brand, is running full now on the weekends. You're not getting room for the last 3 weekends. So that's what something is happening. People are driving in from Delhi, Noida, and coming across and staying there. So similarly, we have another hotel called Fortune Siddharwadi, which is also doing extremely well. So all these getaways have really proved the pudding that people want to move and closer and quicker to be there for the 2 nights or 1 night getaways.
Dhananjay, trust me, that's very encouraging from your side. You're both the examples of Fortune and the ITC Bharat. And actually, when I heard 2 weeks back from one friend from Noida, I didn't trust him. He said that I'm not getting rooms. I said, how it's possible that you're not getting rooms? And I actually checked with someone in ITC, and they said, yes, actually, there's a lot of occupancy and demand over there.
Yeah. We can give you some good suites.
Thanks for that. Thank you very much. Okay, Ram, coming to you. In terms of the independent hotels, as you're an expert on that particular subject, what's your advice? They should have an in-house team to handle their entire social media marketing, or they should go for an external agency?
I think the question is it's not whether the right. I mean, I've worked in environments where I've managed an internal team and work with the external team. And I think what's more important is, do you have the right team who can help you to optimize your stuff? I mean, sometimes the question is, hey, you know what, an internal team is cheaper for me rather than hiring an external team. But please remember that when you are getting the experts from the external team, they actually are more aware of what is happening around the world, what needs to be worked on, and what are the areas where the hotel can optimize it. I think at this point of time, if you are looking at an external agency, it is, there is a lot of negotiation that's happening. So you kind of need to know exactly where the ROI is coming on the spends and what are the areas they're going to be looking at. And whether you're internal or external, I mean, at the end of the day, it's very important to understand what models are you looking at, and are you shifting your spends across to the right performance models? Okay, what worked in the past is definitely not working today. So I think the answer to that is, it's not a question of whether it's internal or external. It's a question of who is more qualified.
Very well said, Ram. Apurv, coming to you, social media is something like an open book for everyone. The whole world can read your comments. Anyone can see through you well. And that's how a lot of hotels actually face the best of the brands. Sometimes a lot of trouble when it comes to the negative comments. Because at the end, it's a touch and feel business. The humans are there. Whatever the training is there can be incidents where some experience went wrong for a guest. Now, when that type of negative comments come on your different social media, whether it's TripAdvisor or at Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever platform, how do you handle that critical moment?
So I think the first thing, Nandi, is very important to realize that it's a service industry. Even the best hotels at times get it wrong. I think when you get it wrong, it's perfectly okay. The first thing which guests expect is, if they are tweeting or writing a review, there is enough research which says that 90 to 95% of the guests expect a response within 2 hours. Responding next day is not okay. You can only respond within 2 hours if the job of monitoring social media and responding has not been given to some part-time, reservation executive or a front desk manager. Just managing, monitoring, and responding is a full-time job. And for 5-star and above brands, I would say it needs to be 24/7, because you can't say that we are only open between 9 to 9, and after that you'll not get a response and you need to wait for 2 days. So it needs to be 24/7. All the big hotels, we work with 600 plus properties, and where we do 24/7 monitoring and responses. The second thing is, if you get it wrong, be authentic, be humble, and it's perfectly okay to apologize, fix it, and move ahead. People really love that humility. I'll give you an example. For one of the 4 seasons which we manage in US, the locking chain was small. The room wasn't being able to get closed. And there was a business guest there for a meeting, and he tweeted and he said, epic fail. And if you know social media, fail is one of the top 3 trending hashtags globally. And he went down. We immediately picked up that, worked with the GM, got the chain fixed. And by the time he came back to shower and go out for his dinner, there was a handwritten note from the GM in his room saying that, we are sorry for the inconvenience. The chain is fixed and we have sorted it out. And for your troubles, there is a small single malt here. We know that you like Islay variety. So here is the smoky single malt for you. And the guest was blown. He actually tweeted unreal customer service. He posted on Instagram. And just imagine the lifetime of value of a guest increased significantly. So at times with, amenities worth 300, 500 rupees, you can completely win over a guest. You should not get into arguments. The intent should be to resolve, be humble, fix it and move ahead.
So attention to detailing is the key here, what we are understanding from you. Very well said. It's very well
personalized service. So even today, if you go to a hotel, you still need to stand at the reception. They still ask you the same things. Can we take your driving license? Can we do this? What do you like? You can't believe it, right? Even after 100 years of hospitality, possibly the Sarais knew their guests better. So unless you really understand your customers, you cannot do this.
Well said, Apurv. Manoj, coming back to you, in the current scenario, we all are moving towards the Zoom platforms or the different meeting apps and video conferencing. And somehow, even a 55 years old, 60-year-old professional who usually would have otherwise in normal circumstances avoided these technology subjects, is now very comfortable. We are forced to use it now. Do you think after 3 quarters, 4 quarters, when life is normal, when we are actually come back to a conventional way of business, there's gonna be significant drop in the business travel? How you foresee that?
First and foremost, a disclaimer: I am not above 50-year-old, while the grey will make you look like more than 50. Yeah. So we had our exposure of Zoom bomb, and we have all been doing those calls. And while we say this is the hibernation phase, actually, the amount of time we spend in front of the screen is actually much more than what you do in a normal day, and that's true for almost all my colleagues. And the thing which has come out, including in the interaction with our colleagues and also when we speak to our customers, this can't be a substitute for meeting people, having the brainstorming session. It can get on, you can do some business, but this is not going to be a long-term solution. It is a part of life which you need to understand that it is there, but the fact is that it can no way replace people coming together, having those meetings, obviously with social distancing now, but this is going to be something which we have to take in our stride right now. And human beings are, as Charles Darwin said, that the most strongest or the most intelligent is not one who survives, but the one who adapts. And while we are adapted to the changing scenario, but this is something which will go to a meeting scenario as things start getting back to normal. That's our hope, people in the travel trade.
Thanks, Manoj. Sachin, coming to you. Now, in terms of keeping your customer engaged, that's very important. The other day, I was in talks with a couple of prominent, restaurateurs like Zorawar and Rahul and all. So they said that, we are doing the home delivery kitchen business and all that. But if you ask me whether it's financial viable, my straightaway answer is no, it's not financial viable, the type of setups we have. Only reason I'm doing this because to keep my customer engaged so that they don't forget them. Tomorrow, when we come again back into the business after 12 months or 18 months, whatever the time frame is required, at that time, I don't want the customer don't know anymore who we are, or they have forgotten us, and we have to reinstall everything. So now you have 10,000 restaurants on your platform. What's your view? Most of the restaurants, what they're thinking in terms of keeping their customer engaged, and what strategies you guys are recommending them, what they need to be done?
Very valid question, and we all have brainstormed on that and worked on it. You see, what has happened in this 3 months? Firstly, we were afraid how we can keep people engaged because there was nothing happening. There was no eat out happening. Everything was shut. So
Sure.
one was like always engage on social media. So we started a live show every day in the evening, which was done by on Instagram Live, so that people can cook food by themselves, which is made by their chefs. So that actually worked very well for us. We used to see like thousand people coming in and then reposting that they have what they have learned from these celebrity chefs. So this is still on. Like what we have done is we have reduced the duration now because it becomes very hectic for people also to log in at 6. So now we do Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays we do brunch. Like people like we had Anita from Soda Bottle Opener. We had like great chefs Ravi Saxena who was taking us to make butter chicken. Neeraj Tyagi of Pullman Core Hotels. He has done some continental dishes, like which was super. And now we are getting home chefs also, like who are quite popular. They are doing certain stuff. So that is one way of engagement. Like people are still getting engaged. We did a live DJ show with one of the mixologists. I tell you, like people were from Australia, Dubai, like from different countries. They were watching that show because this was one of the kind. And then I saw like people have started because we are not. People will not engage us with the DJ. Like cocktails, they still engage. But we thought like this will work, so we did it at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock time, and people have sent us great. That this was a great stuff. Like we felt relaxed in home, and people enjoyed. So basically, engagement on social media is very important. Market with USP. Basically, you have eaten butter chicken of certain place, which will remain with you. So butter chicken, you can relate. I can do a question like I'm an aggregator. In your city, which is your which is your favorite place to eat butter chicken? So people will talk
Sure.
like I love Daryaganj, I love Moti Mahal. Somebody will talk about some other restaurant. So that's how engagement starts. And like you have to be because at the moment you're not doing anything that people can buy. So we did these kind of stuff. Be positive in your communication method. That is one thing every brand should do. That is what we feel, and because positivity will bring a lot of positive people together, and like it's a moral science talk, but it works everywhere. Okay, so timing like again is like because you see pandemic doesn't allow alcohol. Okay, so promotion of alcohol or you can do a making of a cocktail, but you can't talk about like come and have cocktail in my. So wrong promotion also should not be done. So people should be specific, knowing the guidelines of government, like what they're so that they are not in trouble. Discuss idea with your teams because these are the people like who are at home. They are now your customer also because their family is a customer now because you're not like I like to travel. I am planning a trip to Udaipur now. So I tell you like in Himachal, one of the hotel have sent me that they will do a COVID test program. Okay, then there is a healing program over there. So which I found very interesting. Like I will not have any trouble during crossing the borders. So there are like a lot of innovation which has taken place. People are just thinking out of the box at the moment, and these are the people who will go very forward. Okay,
I just want to add there to Sachin's point that in our Masuri hotel, we are willing to reimburse your COVID test
that
price
is
if you
super,
stay for
sir.
5 nights.
That is a
Yeah,
way.
that's the only one in the hills open, and we are gladly willing to take that honors if you come and spend at least a minimum of 5 nights with us, because that's a condition by the government, not by the hotel chain.
No, that is important also. Like certain people have already gone to the government that we are COVID friendly hotel. We have got this kind of sanitization machines, like restaurants are doing. This you will have to do, like in any case. So basically, more important is showing your seats, decor, or a food at the time. Show some togetherness. Like togetherness, I mean, is basically talk about your hotel restaurants, start promoting your staff like how hygienic they are talking about it because you see human is serving a human. Okay, he will be getting in touch with other. So a person is like working like a soldier over there serving in a restaurant or a hotel. So these people need to be given respect, due respect, and should be shown as a star, and that will definitely create because what will happen is his family is seeing a person is working, and now social media peers work in that fashion. Like trust is one thing which will make everybody happy, and you will feel free going out. So that is like my point to everyone at the moment is, because you see, when you can't do anything, just rely on positivity, because see, whatever strategies which we have done till now, it is not working. Like anybody, be it anybody, because nobody knows, because this kind of stuff comes in once in 100 years, and nobody have that kind of experience like to deal with the situation. We are learning, so we should just think like tomorrow will be a good day, so work today for having a better tomorrow.
Thanks,
That is
Sachin.
what-
Yeah,
thank you.
thanks for valuable inputs. Prasad, coming to you, banqueting is one of the very important revenue stream for a lot of hotels, especially in tier 2, tier 3, as social events are very critical for some of the hotels for their revenue stream. Now, with the government restriction, 50 is a maximum you can have as a gathering for a wedding or for any event. Do you see any such business coming to you in your hotels where you have a space for banqueting?
With Lemon Tree, it's always social and events and things like that, and banqueting nights in general has always been an important part of the total business mix as well. But not as much as some of the larger, bigger brands out there, that are used to sort of catering big size, full size weddings, which require spaces for 500 guests and above. Our meeting spaces and our banquet spaces have always been perfect and just right, which is thankfully more COVID friendly, if I would rather say it, because the restrictions on weddings and things is even now down to 50, right? It's groups of 50 or less. So with regards to that, I mean, we do get quite a lot of queries because, life goes on and people have weddings and social events planned, which is usually thrown with winter, which again coincides with what we said in saying we do anticipate the business lift and everything coming back around October. So we do have a sizable chunk of queries already coming in because our spaces are pretty much perfect for it, right? In many ways, and again, it's going to be budget conscious, so it sort of makes even more sense. And when people want to sort of have a smaller affair as compared to a big bang, it's more of an excuse now in saying I do not want to spend, let's say, X lakhs of money towards either a conference or an event or so on. It makes complete sense to sort of go with something which is more conducive and more suitable to your budgets and suitable more towards the size of the event that you want to do. So yes, put simply, I think those queries and those RFPs will always start coming in. They come in very earlier through the year, and they've been coming in as early as March. Just post lockdown as well, because a whole lot of events have already been planned ahead. But we've also seen a sizable chunk of cancellations, which is something which is seen across the industry. But yeah, I think before things go back to normal and people go back to having full board 500 plus people gathering, it's going to be a while, because that also has multiple government restrictions and things, and that's also sort of state depending on how the states sort of have outlined that. Are we actively going after those events? Yes, but not by means of your transient touch points, which is, let's say social media is not necessarily going to be one of those touch points that we used to do. That is still going to be your event planners and your RFP setups like Cvent and so on, that sort of conventionally look at where these queries are coming in. And yeah, I mean, in a passive manner, that's also sort of actively being done by the sales organization within every hotel company, I would presume.
Thanks, Prasad. Thanks for your inputs. Gentlemen, now we're going to take a couple of questions from our audience. The first question is there for you, Ram. How preferred hotels can bring benefits to individual owners rather than going to franchise brand?
Well, thank you so much. I mean, so I think, okay, I know we got.
I think potential hotel owner is asking you. You have a business lead at my
I'm
platform.
waiting for this question.
Thank you. So much. I think I would have loved to see DJ as well out here, because he knows what we bring it out here. I think the most important thing out here is it gives you complete freedom to operate. Okay, unlike any other brands. I mean, there is in no particular. I think most of the brand experiences are cookie cutter experience. Okay, now if I and which is not something today's audience is looking for, because and I'm a traveler as well. I'm an avid traveler, both on business and personal requirements, and they are looking for unique experiences where every stay at a different hotel is different from the other. Uh, the biggest thing out here that it brings in out here is a lot more flexibility as far as your operations is concerned, and at the same time giving you every support in terms of sales, marketing, PR, social media, loyalty, and finally, not the least, revenue management support, okay, and distribution support. So I think the owner gets everything that a hard brand gets, okay, but at the same time gives him complete freedom to operate the hotel that the way they want to operate and deliver the experience that they wish they want to deliver out there. So, and yep, we are a lot more cost effective than most of the franchise options available in the market.
Thanks, Ram. Thank
Did I answer?
Yeah, pretty good. I think you did a good justice to your business development pitch. I must say that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Apurva, I think the next question is for you. A lady called Vani Wadhwa has asked you that you spoke about during the discussion a hashtag which was used in a negative review on Twitter. Can you elaborate more about that? I think that's, of course, is an example you was referring to.
Sure. So basically, hashtags are used across social media to garner attention and make comments searchable. One of the most viral hashtags is called fail, and guests often use it to say epic fail or just fail when they don't get the service which they'd expected from brands. And it's a myth that customer service or guest experience is only important for business hotels and luxury brands. Even if you are a hotel with 1,500 or 2,000 rupee ADR, even then guest experience is very important. In fact, at times those customers might be even more sensitive to poor quality service. So the point I was making is, if somebody is saying good things about you, please acknowledge it. If somebody is saying critiquing you, even then with a lot of humility, acknowledge it and try fixing it. And at times the fix is not very expensive. All people need is they need an outlet for their comments to be heard, somebody to acknowledge it and just say, hey, we'll do better, and this is not us. That's it. And this very simple act can win you a lifetime guest.
Superb. Manoj, the next question is for you. When you think the corporate business movement gonna travel? It's actually a couple of hotel owners have asked him. When you think the corporate business movement is gonna be back in the game?
So we are getting queries and we are getting bookings, but these are necessary travel. What is not helping the case is the constant dilly-dallying in terms of state governments changing the rules and regulation. That is obviously hurting everyone across. We are hopeful that we will see, because life can't go on in a lockdown. We will have to unlock down. We'll have to move on. Life has to move on. So I'm hoping that by the festive season, Dussehra, Diwali, not only corporates but leisure will also start traveling. The country needs it, the economy needs it, but with social distancing and taking the right precautions in place, we are hopeful that there will be green shots, and it will take a lot of time for us to reach the pre-COVID level, but definitely we will see numbers coming in. And I just wanted to add one more thing, which I at that point of time missing when we were having a conversation about how do we get the customer backs. So there is also a segment of we get nearly 1 crore inbound customers. So that as well as the segment of MICE is going to take a bit of time, nearly a year for it to come back. So the hotel owners need to adapt and try to change their strategy in terms of how they reach out to a new set of customers. Like I stay in Bombay. I hardly had stayed in hotels in Mumbai, but there is a way in which you can make that also happen. People who are, because the biggest chunk of audience right now is the corporate customers for hoteliers. And how do you make them also come and stay for, as you said, vacations or with family to take a break from the routine in your own city? Those kind of things will have, yeah, staycations. Those things have to be put into play. So that's my.
Thanks, Manoj. We'll take two more questions. The next one is, how do we distinguish between negative comment due to poor quality or the genuine bad experience, or some of the people actually just put the comments to to get the freebie from that particular hotel or the management? So these are very relevant question actually to some extent. I think Sachin, if you would like to take it up.
Yeah. Through my hotel life, we have dealt with this. So yeah, it's a very valid question, and I tell you, like, to answer these questions is very important. Like, one is like what corrective action we can take. But sometimes, like, these are like bogus, but we have to take every comment as very seriously. Okay, so basically, listen very carefully. Stopping a problem in its track starts from social listening. Track all mentions of brand hashtags. Somebody should be like taking care of that. Like, as soon as you receive any hashtag from the company, because you have to revert to the consumer immediately. Because sometimes what happen is, if a false complaint also can go viral. So that's like, we have to be very responsible towards it. Remember that response time matters. When establishing your basically target response time, know that now more than ever speed matters. Basically, you have to think about it like what has happened. Corrective mentions, corrective action needs to be taken care of, and guests have to be reverted. Like, if there was genuine problem, you can always invite him back for the corrective actions. Other can be basically everything again come back as you deal at home. So be human, be transparent, and never go negative. Firstly, listen to the complaint, and try, like, if you were in the guest shoes at that moment, because there must have been something which has happened that has agitated a guest to write something about it. uh,
Thanks, Sachin.
Before replying publicly, know the situation, and best way is to apologize if something has happened, because we all are human working in. There is no harm in telling that there is a mistake which has happened and the corrective measures have been taken. So publicly, if somebody has responded, like we do in TripAdvisor and a lot of sites, like now Google reviews are also there, one should respond with corrective. Not because certain hotels and restaurants have templates, they reply immediately on that. What happens is, like, if you are reading those comments, you will not know what has happened. So basically, with every situation, you should have a template. Like, like with preferred hotels, have worked with Imperial. Actually, we used to have like, I was a front office manager in 2004, 3, 4. Like, in my times only this preferred have started. So Saurabh was also with me during those days. So we had made, like, even from a coffee machine in the room not working, from a dry cleaning stuff which is not correctly done. So we had template for everything, because in hotels the situation and items are limited. There is no vast thing. Like, there can be a food complaint, there can be a theft, there can be different situations are there. So to treat them like, you just have to do a template ways, or a manager need to listen to the guest and go into deep and respond.
Nandi, I'd just
Thanks,
like to
thanks,
add
Sachin.
here. I
Thanks
mean,
for that.
just to add to this piece, we had set up. I mean, I'm not going to sort of necessarily go back to what had been set up. This is a function of how many conversations you deal with every day, and I'm saying this because we are the ones who are actually dealing with this day in and day out as a service provider. It's easier for a third party or a tool system to sort of tell us how it needs to be done, but we deal with this day in and day out, right? So we know the kind of complaints they come in, and it's as simple as what happens in Vegas now lives on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It doesn't stay there anymore. It's as simple as that. Most of these complaints that go into a negative, and I think I see where the question is coming in from as well, because the question is very simple. Is it a way to extort more and get freebies out of it, or is it a genuine concern? Most of these things have to be sort of spoken to the guest first, right? In order to sort of get the guest to sort of address the issue, as opposed to sort of addressing it on a public. I mean, yeah, the redressal needs to be posted online. And more importantly, if it's a negative review, the only ones that can delete the review is the reviewer themselves. So you have to first sort of immediately, your primary response needs to be, can we get in touch with you? Because 9 out of 10 times when the review is posted, even if it's an epic fail, it's happening while the guest is still in the guest. It's not reviews don't come in after stay now, they're coming in stay. And we're saying this purely out of, based on platforms like MLive and Taj Live and things like that, which have been in place for the last 4 or 5 years. We've set this up ourselves depending on the volume. The social media conversations are not limited to say about a dozen a day, they're going as high as 2,000 a day. And imagine having to respond to 2,000 reviews and sieving it and filtering it and figuring out which ones to respond, which ones to not respond. While it's all hunky dory, shit is getting real. I mean, if I can say that to you, because service dissonance is largely coming in from one reason and one reason alone. Every customer in the pre-COVID era was used to a certain service level. Every customer in the post-COVID era is sort of now experiencing something completely different. Yeah, services that used to be delivered in a certain fashion are not delivered in that fashion, largely because of what the Ministry of Health outlines for hoteliers like, say, Dhananjay and Rama and I think, relate to this much better than anyone else, because I'm fairly certain that most people have not lived in hotels in the last 3 to 4 months. It's very different from what it used to be, and it becomes a little overwhelming for the guests too, and saying, this is not what I'm used to. So cases are real, and it is not just about doing laundry in public. It is actually about understanding and solving the issue on the ground first, before you actually go in and figure out and saying, even if there is a 2-hour turnaround time, if there is a time difference and it takes time for the user to sort of actively look at, hey, can you give us your contact number? Let us get in touch with you. It's not going to happen in 2 hours. We used to have a turnaround time of about 15 minutes, which was probably the best in the country and parts of Asia Pacific. But that was then. It's not going to happen now. It's not a reality. It's going to be a while before companies can actually get that. Doesn't matter if you had Jesus on your side as well. It simply doesn't work the way it used to.
Thanks, Prasad. Straight coming from the heart, I can see emotions on your face.
Absolutely.
Typically, it goes that time for digital.
No worries.
But very valuable inputs. I think it really added tremendous value to the entire discussion. Okay, gentlemen, last question. It's again from one of the hotel owners. His question is that to get the right distribution and marketing and the support of the digital marketing, space, is it important to have a tie-up under franchise or management with a brand, or do you think it's still viable to remain an independent hotel and still you can have your own space and niche? I leave up to you guys who you want. Ram, you or Prasad, any one of you can take.
I think in today's time, with the current scenario, the trust over a brand is much more as compared to an independent, unless it's created its own niche over the period of time. So I think it's important to owners, in the interest of our own brands, they should start getting into brands or some kind of a partnership with brands. It's franchisee or management, doesn't matter. That's my take on it. However, if all the norms and the protocols are followed by that hotel and they are able to demonstrate to their clients or the customers in such a way, and it's a good, decent size, a good hotel, I'm sure even that will work. I mean, it's not necessarily it has to be a brand. But I think more and more people will now want, we are already getting a lot of inquiries for signing up for brands. So it looks to be on a brand is a better way to be at this stage, at least. With the brand. Sorry.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, gentlemen, now I will take your closing remarks. With that, we will end the entire panel discussion. Starting with you, Manoj, advice to the independent or organized hotel owners and to the guest in one line, please.
Tough times are there, but it won't last for long. So use this downtime to relook at your strategy, at the way you approach the market. Don't let the crisis go waste. That's what we have done at our end, and we did a start, stop, continue thing. There are a lot of things we are stopping. There are a lot of things we are starting new. It's a good time to go back to drawing board and try to rechart the way you go ahead.
Well said, Manoj. Thanks for your input. Prashad.
My thoughts echo exactly what Manoj said. I think we will continue to inculcate the world to travel again, and we would wish everyone safe travels because that's there, and we're a big part. We play an important role in making travel safe for all of us, and I think this too shall pass. Like they say about everything, it's a matter of time, and I think it's a matter. People will come around this. And once that happens, I think once COVID passes, you'll have to worry about how soon the country turns around and how soon we come out of recession as one, irrespective of which walk of life we are in. The country needs to come out of this recession for everything to go back to the way things were, and this might take its sweet time. But I think all we can do is to support it in our own in our own ways and wish everyone safe travels.
Thanks, Prasad. Sachin, advice for the hotel owners and the guest.
I still tell you, there is an audience out there that will eventually re-engage with your brand. Okay. The key is to connect with them. Evaluate your digital marketing strategy. Assess the current impact of COVID-19. As per the occupancy, I am not saying like occupancy will be high at that moment. ADR also, you should forget about it at the moment. Revenue and length of stay, if you can work on something, because these days, like 14 days, because everybody is bugged up in their houses. So do some family engagement where people can travel and you show them like there is safety around, where people like me are there who want to travel every weekend. Okay. And I have a lot of friends like who discuss with me, like if you are safe, like they will travel. And because you see, like what we are doing now, it used to happen in a panel, like in an auditorium or somewhere, we'll be doing this kind of show. We are doing, everything is working on Zoom or web. So you can travel because schools are also online these days. Why not? I will take my children and we are in Shimla or somewhere on the hills, they are taking their classes. Everybody is going to enjoy it because stress level staying in the house need to go out. And there is immense stress level. You understand it yourself. Like when you speak to the family, like everybody is so bugged seeing each other and not going out. So market to your loyal clients at the moment. Show the trust, like what Mr. Dhananjay have told, like they have already started reimbursing. So that means something is happening. Somebody is thinking about like what government is thinking. They are supporting each other. Bring yourself into the COVID-19 test. Top 10 hotels wherever you are situated, or top 5 hotels. So people will have more trust on your brand. Focus on upsell. Digital strategy must include adding more revenues from each booking or a reservation. And plus, bring all of your restaurants on Easy Diner. We don't charge anything. Plus, we will be able to, no, it is the, I'm just telling you, there is no charge to it. So people will be able to see you. Any traveler who's traveling, maybe staying with you, or a localite who's there, they will be able to find you, search you, and simultaneously they will be able to book or buy anything from your hotel. So recently we have also started, like Rakhi is coming. Okay. So you can even gift a voucher. Voucher can be, a person can dine in at that place, because you see, like out of 100, 80% of the restaurant, whether it is in hotel or a standalone, they have started delivering. Okay. So those vouchers can be used on that platform also, where you will be having. So there are a lot of stuff which we are doing, because food will never go out of fashion. It is going to come back. Okay. So
Superb,
that's it.
superb, Sachin. Very valid and very insightful and very interesting. It's always interesting to hear you, I must say.
Thank you so much.
Ram,
Thank you so much.
Your advice to the hotel owners and the guest.
I think the first and foremost thing I want to tell everyone is, please believe in the resilience of travel. Okay. You look at the past 100 years, be it the Great Depression, the multiple world wars, the Vietnam Wars, the 9/11 or the 26/11, okay, and it's COVID now, okay. We've always had a lull, but then every time travel bounced back strong, okay. People wanted to travel back. Even after 26/11, we thought people would never enter a hotel because hotels were attacked by terrorists. But then, hey, you know what? We did the highest occupancy area after that, right? So believe in travel. I mean, that is actually the brand promise of us as a company as well. Believe in travel, because people will ultimately travel, and the more they are locked in, the more is the need for them to travel. So at this stage, continue to inspire them, as to why they need to travel whenever they are ready to travel. Do not push travel into their face right now, but continue to inspire them. Showcase all your health and safety duty of care changes that you are doing out there. Because ultimately price is not what is going to drive the business. Manoj made a point of that. I think Apurva made a point of that. People are not looking for a cheap product. They are looking for a safe product and a product which will deliver to them value, and they will pay for it. We have seen that already happening globally. Luxury hotels are doing better than the lower end of the hotels. I'm not talking about the budget or the mid segment. I'm talking about the lower end of the hotels. So people will pay money for a safe experience because it is your health and your family's health that you're putting at stake when you're going to stay at a hotel. So remember that when you're looking at that. And lastly, from a hotel's front, going in sync with what Sachin has mentioned, it's important to be available in all channels. Okay, exposure will matter when someone is searching for you. Online is key. I mean, the world has become, and India has become a lot more online savvy in the last 4 months. Meetings like this is happening online. I have 2 kids. They're doing schooling online for Christ's sake, right? My mom is streaming movies online. She's never been streaming stuff before this. She's on Netflix and Amazon Prime. So everyone is becoming online savvy. So people will search for your hotel online. Bookings will happen online. So be online savvy out there. And finally, believe in travel. It will fight back. Okay. We might be sitting here looking down, but pretty soon all of us are going to look up and hopefully be smiling. And I'm hoping that that's going to be sooner than later. Thank you.
Superb, Ram. Very encouraging. I really appreciate your words. Dhananjay, your advice for the hotel owners and the guests?
Yeah, the first and foremost advice for all our hotel colleagues and owners are obviously never compromise on safety and hygiene standards. I think that's the first part which gives a sense of confidence to the travelers. So I think nowhere it should be said in these lovely meeting rooms and boardrooms, and then implementation and execution is poor there on the ground. I think they have to take it really, really serious as the numbers are just only going up, and that should not also bother us, but we should try to live with COVID anyway going forward. The second part is being flexible is very, very important. It is a revenue manager, it's a salesperson, it's a general manager. We have a limited business in the market. We can't look at somebody said in between, this is the ADR and this is the price and this is it. I think we should now build value, give that value to the customer and try to bring them into the door back. And last but not least, let's all stay positive. Things will change.
Well said. Well said. Apurv, final word from you.
Final word is go back to basics. Travel industry is not going anywhere. It's going to recover. The best customer, the best guest is your existing guest. Dig deep into your loyalty program, CRM, and those are the guests you can get back. Micro segment. Don't be broad-based. Sending thousands of emails is not going to help. Be very, very deliberate, and the business will recover. I had a couple of my customers last week in Indonesia and India who had 100% occupancy, 100%. So crisis actually separates the men from the boys. So this is the time to show that you understand hospitality and you can get customers.
Can you elaborate in the interest of the audience when you said 100%? What was the driving force for those hotels?
The driving force was very, very sharp segmentation. Looking at who are the people who have birthdays, sending them a specific communication. Who are the people who have an anniversary, sending them a specific communication. Who are the people who come, repeat, but have not come. It was a massively segmented marketing approach, which finally led to 100% occupancy.
So, and it was in Jakarta or Bali?
So one in Jakarta, one in Bali, surprisingly both from the same group. So that group is doing really well.
Superb. Great. Thank you, gentlemen. I must say the key takeaway you have, all of you have added tremendous value. The first is coming to remain positive, to be innovative. What Apurv said, to do segmentation, be very focused with your marketing and the database on the digital side, and such an added tremendous value in terms of the how EasyDiner can add value, and the Manoj as well. And thanks a lot, Prasad, Dhananjay, Apurv, Sachin, Manoj, and Ram for your valuable inputs. And I'm sure we're gonna reconnect in the near future again, and gonna have one more session with you once the time further passes and their market dynamics we hopefully change the next couple of quarters. And thanks a lot, and have a wonderful weekend ahead. Cheers. Bye-bye.